Yes, we can start now. Nice to have you join us, Grace. Thank you for joining, Grace.
Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. So let's get started. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever you're joining us from, and welcome to this special edition of the SDG talk show. I mean, it's been a minute, and I really miss doing this. It's a very interesting conversations that we have here, and we've not had it for quite some months now. So I'm so excited to be on board again and to be doing this again. My name is Janice Olaolu, and I'm going to be moderating the session for today. Today, our focus is going to be on a topic that is more urgent than ever. So we are actually going to be talking more on SDG 13, which is climate action. So, and the climate action, which is SDG goal 13. So many people, for someone like me and some other people that are focused on goal 1, goal 2, or goal 3, or whatever goal that you're focused on. It's important to have a broad knowledge about all the goals, irrespective of the one that you are much more focused on. And to do this, we have two great individuals. One happens to be a very close friend and a colleague of mine, Jumoke. Nice to have you here, Jumoke.
Nice to have you here.
It's like I'm seeing you everywhere. Like I'm just seeing you everywhere. Anything climate in Nigeria, you are there.
Thank you for nice words. Thank you.
Done. It's good to see the great things that you're doing. I don't know, do we have Israel on board already? Israel, are you here? I don't think Israel is here right now, but then we can start. Maybe you join us along the way. As we all know, that climate change is one of the most pressing global challenges of our time presently, and it affects almost every continent, every country, every community, with profound impact on our environment, health, and our livelihood. So we are so fortunate to have two distinguished guest speakers that are versatile and are expert in the field of climate action, who will be speaking to us more about climate action, SDG Goal 13, all you need to know about it, how you can impute your own little quota to support. So we have Jumoke Modeni, who I will be giving you a short about his profile. It's very, very large. I'm not even sure if I can finish it, but then I'll try, not waste most of your time. Jumoke is a visionary researcher and climate science professional working to advance climate innovations in Africa through research and climate literacy initiative. She is the founder of EcoSciGen. I don't know if I pronounced that very well. Can correct me if
it's perfect.
Thank you. She is the founder of EcoSciGen, a youth-led initiative that is making climate education and research accessible and practical for young Africans. Since inception, EcoSciGen has trained over 14 young people in climate research and trained 2,000 plus young people on climate science. Central to EcoSciGen mission is the climate research workshop, climate program designed to empower the next generation of young people to become independent climate researchers so as to drive climate innovations rooted in the reality of African countries. She is a recipient of the Carrington Youth Fellowship, Sci-Fi, of the United States Consulate, Lagos. She leads Climate Action Fellowship, a Capital colleague, and a Global Youth Ambassador of the award. It's nice to have you join us here, Jumoke.
Thank you.
Well done. I see all that you're doing on climate advocacy and all that. And then I can't wait to get more of you today. Also, joining us later on, I don't know if he's on board already, but then just allow me to read out his profile. We hope that he will join us on the course of the conversation. Is Olayinka Okeyinka Israel, who is the creative director of Exosias Repurpose, a dedicated climate change advocate and environmentalist whose primary focus lies in the harnessing the potential of the circular economy through waste transformation. He bagged a bachelor's degree in environmental science and resource management and currently pursues further studies with a research focus on sustainability, waste management, sustainable agriculture, circular economy, and climate change mitigation. Driven by his profound love and passion for environmental sustainability with a strong focus on upcycling and waste repurposing, Israel actively volunteered for faith in its international foundation, particularly contributing to the Eco School NG project. The project is targeted at the realization of 6 SDGs, that is SDG 1, 2, 3, 4, 12, and 13, and serves to promote climate action by educating students, especially those in low-income secondary schools and communities in Lagos and Ogun State, Nigeria, to become environmentally sustainable. With this short bow, you can agree with me that we have great people and wonderful experts that are deeply rooted in climate action on board. Oh, I heard Israel is on board. Israel, can you just say a quick hi to us? Let's see your face. Kindly unmute your microphone and your video.
Hello. Good evening.
I can't see you.
I'm sorry you might not be able to see me because I'm just trying to manage my location.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
I'm not at home.
Your voice is enough for us for now. Your voice is enough for us for now. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining. So together we will be exploring the critical steps needed to combat climate change, the role of community, government, and individuals, and how everyone can contribute to a sustainable future, irrespective of either that is your main goal, or that is not. Maybe you are in one or two. I believe that to you, all of these SDG goals are of great paramount to every individual. So either your focus is on SDG 1, 2, or 3, or SDG 4, 5, and 6. You have to have a broad understanding about all these SDG goals, and now you can contribute because these goals are interwoven kind of. So to kickstart, I'm going to be starting with the lady on board, which is Jumoke. Jumoke, are you there? So I would love if you can open the floor to us by telling us the specific challenges Nigeria faces in implementing climate action strategies, and now we can address them.
Okay, thank you so much, Janet. Hi, everyone. Good evening. It's raining on this part of the world. I'm in Nigeria. Don't mind me. I hope you guys can hear me, Sha.
Of course.
All right. Thank you, Janet, for the warm introduction. And just to address the question, there are so many challenges that is facing Nigeria, even as a whole, when we look at it from a very wide perspective. But most importantly, I think one of the major challenges in the climate space is policy or political and governance issue. That issue, I always feel like, although every issue is interconnected, one leads to the other, but then if we don't address that issue, we're always going to float around it. We're always going to float around the main issue here. So policy governance issue translates to lack of resources for the people that want to carry out climate initiative, or for different departments that are in charge of implementing climate action strategies or practice. Now, for instance, climate adaptation now is very capital intensive. It's very, very expensive. And the global north, funding that are coming from all those parts of the world is just going to address their interests. It's supposed to even be complementing the effort of our governments. But if our government is not doing what they're supposed to do, or sometimes they're not doing anything at all, it's even going to just to be there. Instead of the effort from the global north now complementing the one we have in Nigeria, everything will start floating around, and then the issue will never hit the nail on the head. So I think that we have to address the issue of governance first. We have to have political people in the political sphere that are ready to take action. And when you talk to a lot of them, just like I said, it's a systemic issue. And when you try to address one, it leads to another one, then the other one leads to another one. When you try to talk to these people, they're just like, oh, I'm not going to be here for so long. Or maybe what if the current government, what if they remove me from my position? So the person that is coming will come and take my own glory or whatever. So I think we have to address that, but it's going to be on the behavioral aspect. But for the finances, I think Nigeria needs to step up. Nigeria needs to start taking the front of funding their own climate adaptation projects, climate resilience projects, really showing people that they really do care about them. I mean, can we even see the Maiduguri issue already? It's a very sensitive issue. A lot of people are saying it's climate crisis, but it has a lot to do with infrastructural problems. And if Nigeria government have done better, then that would be the infrastructure that would even help them adapt to the issues of climate crisis. So another one of the way we can address that is to call for more accountability in the governance system. I don't know if you guys saw it yesterday, but I was going through Instagram and I saw budgets. I don't know how many people know budgets here on Instagram. And I was seeing a breakdown of how the government have spent the budgets, the money, the investments. And I was just shouting in my head that there's just a lot of things wrong. So first, Nigeria government have to start investing in their own climate action strategies and practices, strengthening their own institution, making sure that their own institution are equipped to carry out these climate adaptation practices or even projects or initiatives. And also, most institutions in Nigeria used to complain that they are overloading them, or most of them will say that they don't know what they are doing. You will see a department that is supposed to be a climate action department, handling waste issue, handling resilience issue, adaptation, farming, agriculture, different things like that. All those things need to change. And now back on the local
let me hold you there for a while. Let me hold you there and pick something. One of the things you said, you've spoken well, you've given us so many things that can be done, challenges that we're going through. But one thing that you talked about, you mentioned governance and also political government making some plans, making some policy, putting money into this things. How sure are you? Like, is there anything that is being done to even sensitize people in political space or in government space that are holding public offices on climate actions? Because I don't know if you agree with me that, do you think that most of them are have this broad idea about what climate the goal is, or climate action is, or how it's impacting our communities?
Yeah, so of course, the same thing that is happening with people, we have different kind of people in political landscape. And for me, I've been fortunate to meet a whole lot of them. There are some people that are very knowledgeable about the climate space. They are professors, they are doctors, they are active in even the academic and research sphere. And then we have some people that they have no idea. And even I've seen, most especially in this Ibadan, that most of the people that are holding that sensitive sphere in the climate or environment sphere are people that have no idea about the climate space, right? So yes, it's good to raise awareness. It's good to tell them, and that's where awareness comes in. It's good. Awareness is good. I was going to add that on the local sphere, apart from governance issue, that we also need to raise more awareness to change people's behavior, because one of the issues we have in the climate awareness space is people being resistant to change. People don't want to change. They don't care. They're going to talk from today to tomorrow about sustainability and climate action, and they won't accept what you're saying. And I mean, so on that sphere, I think one of the harms of what I'm trying to say is, if they pump in more money, people are going to use it to launch different initiatives, and most of those initiatives are going to come in the sphere of awareness, in the sphere of innovation, research, development, projects, different things like that. And so that awareness is important. And I've seen a lot of NGOs doing amazing in that space. And I mean, the government is just supposed to come in and complement them, but yeah,
so what are the steps that climate actors, people like you and all the climate actors out there are doing to ensure that governments are being held responsible and are being held accountable and are being ensured to make sure that every budget that goes out there, climate action budget, is being added or is being looked into?
Okay. If I get your question right, so you're saying what are the actions that people like me are taking
climate actors are doing to encourage government to add this thing in the budget, to push it in the budget?
Yeah, sure. It comes in forms of policy advocacy, when it's more of lobbying, and just like lobby with the government. Just sometimes some NGO will go, do the research, the field work, the community work, do even implement pilot projects just to prove to the government that, see, this thing will work. All you only need to do is to add it in the budget, put some things, put some plans in place, bring money into the states, and then this percentage of money should go into climate adaptation and resilience building and all those kind of stuff. So a lot of young people are coming on board too. In fact, I've met one person in the Ministry of Education before, and I saw her face, and she went in, she came out. I said, "Are you a climate person?" Because the way you were, I overheard what she was saying, and she said, yes, they are here to submit a report of one project that they implemented. And I went through the report. It was amazing. It was climate awareness in the community level, and people's perception about climate change and what initiative they would prefer to come into their community. So I think people are doing amazing. But then when you go to the table of those people, their hands are kind of tied sometimes, because they can't control a lot of things, but they can influence. I mean, most of those political leaders don't have the money that they can give you. But what we do is to ensure that if they have that space, or if any opportunity come at all, for them to advocate or put that climate action talk on the table, on the regional table, they should do it, and they should always shoot for it. So we're always there, just pushing and just lobbying and just talking.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'll be back to you. Let me move quickly to Israel. Israel, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm with you.
Thank you.
Very much with you.
Yeah. The voice is. I said we will be managing the voice for now. So you heard what Jumoke has talking about what climate actors are doing in the space, and what the youth also, what people are trying to do to ensure that the government do what is right for them to do. So can you talk about how the Nigerian government can better integrate climate action into the national policies and development plans?
Okay. Well, before I continue, what Jumoke was saying, that was very profound. But I believe the issue we have now is communication gap. We need to close that loop. The youth, we are doing much. And I can tell you, we really know little about what is going out there with the government. And for us to know even I can begin to tell you stuff now. But after today, how well can we promote this information out there that the youth will know what the government are doing towards climate actions, towards policy? I'm running a course in Lagos Business School recently, and I got to know that there are so many policies in place already. But I think we need to now begin to advocate for policies. We need to advocate for policy awareness. Like, okay, we need to know the policies that are out there and the one that is deficient to the knowledge of the people. Many things the government are doing, the people don't know. I used to be a critic of the government are not doing anything until I got closer a little bit to know that they are actually trying. I'm not saying they are perfect yet, but I can tell you that there are so many things that they are doing underground that we do not know that they are doing. So there must be a communication gap that we need to get closer to these people. During my last webinar with one of these, I told them we need to don't leave the government work to the government work. We need to get closer one way or the other. And that's why there's a partner, there's a office for climate change and circular economy department with the office of the governor of Lagos State, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. The SA, she's closer to the people. I don't know if someone can confirm that to me, Mrs. Titi Layo Oshodi. Very closer. She has a network of 300 to 400 businesses in Lagos State presently, and that they are into eco business and solving climate change issues via their businesses. And she has close relationship with these people just to know how the government can be of help and what other policies they can begin to develop, like the circular economy roadmap that is still in progress. And I know before policy can take 5 to 10 years before it can come to the implementation stage. It goes through the recommendations phase to the framework phase before the implementation, and it's a lot of work before any policy can come into the implementation stage, which means that people must be involved with the government for them to even get the right policy for them to do. So you cannot leave the policy to the government alone. The government needs to work with the environmental stakeholders. And we, the American stakeholders, how do we get involved? Do we even really know what climate action is? That's the question. Do we know where we need to fit in with our even small-scale business? Even with our academic progress? Do we know where we need to fit in and be part of that change we are seeking? Please, can you reiterate your question? I don't know if I've covered anything, but I just want to...
Yes. So you mentioned part of it, but I wanted to know what the Nigerian government, like how the Nigerian government can better integrate climate action into the national policies and development plans.
Okay. Now, I have one thing in mind.
But before you answer that, please, back to your introduction, where you talked about the Nigerian youth needs to do more, do better, and be involved. Is there a way? What can the Nigerian youth drive? How can the Nigerian youth drive climate action?
Now, we have so many youth-led organizations.
Remember,
right?
You're still going back to my question. But
yes, I know.
How Nigerian youth?
We have youth now. I'm a youth. I'm a leader I'm the creative director of a social enterprise, and I know many youth here. They are leaders in their various organizations. We need coalition. Number one thing, very, very important. We need to stop working in silos. We need coalition, and we need to sit down. How can we be involved? That is the first thing. When we do not have a shared goal, a shared vision, and a shared purpose, we will not be able to implement the change we are seeking. They will just see us as maybe we just want to, we are chasing a cloud. And we are not chasing a cloud. We are people that are going. I'm a student of research and advanced training in environmental science. And I don't joke when I talk about climate action and how we can start from the grassroots. But firstly, like I said, that coalition is very, very key. Let's forget about I need to promote my own business first. No, we need to see this as a big problem. And this problem is a big challenge for us to even make greater impact. I don't see problem as a problem. I see problem as an opportunity for us to make a greater impact. So we need to come together to form a coalition that the government will recognize. They will recognize us when we work in groups and not in silos. So that's the number one thing. So back to your question.
So back to my question, like how the Nigerian government...
Yes, Jumoke said something about climate governance. Very, very important. To integrate climate action into national policy and development plan, we must strengthen climate governance and institutional frameworks. Very, very important. We must establish a central climate coordination body. It's still part of what I'm saying, which is, this climate, and they started though, but you might not know. There's a department in the Ministry of Environment and Water Resources. Is a climate change department led by Mr. Bankole. I name very well. And they are really doing it. When you get closer to these people, you will see what Lagos is doing concerning climate action. You will hear these things. So we must begin to now seek for what has been done or what is in process. So strengthen climate governance and institutional frameworks, which means having a central climate coordination body, which they are already in place. We have, like I said, for Ministry of Environment and Water Resources, the Climate Change Department. There is an office, like I mentioned earlier, of the Office of Climate Change and Circular Economy Issues to the governor of Lagos State. That is another robust department taking into climate action and climate change issues. So these are the ways we can now begin to implement policies that affect the public or that will affect our climate. Another thing is to embed climate goals in economic and development planning, integrate climate change adaptation and mitigation strategies into key national frameworks. It is very, very important. But my question is that, do we even know what climate mitigation programs are? There are so many things we do. I think Mr. Toby can testify to this. The organization that I was volunteering for, and I worked for them for a while before I started my own social enterprise, is an example of a climate mitigation program supported by the Ministry of Environment and Water Resources, the Ministry of Education, and other financial institutions, Art Foundation. What do we do? We go to schools to teach students from the grassroots about climate action. How do you plant organically without the use of inorganic fertilizers? How do you plant a tree that will help you, sequester your carbon? How do you recycle and upcycle your waste? These are the little things that we must enter into the government plan. Very, very important, like especially the educational part. We must advocate for environmental education into the academic curriculum. They must rejig it. It is very, very important for us to know that it must not just be it must not be like an outdoor event anymore. Like we did biology, social studies, economics, they must do environmental education. And that law must be put to place. And it must enter into their national frameworks. If it does not go national, we'll still just be doing it as just looking for funding to go to schools. But we will not do more, because we must evolve. It must be passed down to generations. And that's how we can do that.
Mr. Israel, I quite agree with you on what the Lagos state government are doing when it comes to climate actions. Yes, I quite agree with that. And I know the office of the SDG, Office of Climate and all that. But can you agree that, can you say that is what it is in other states? Example of Lagos State, example of Ogun, Ondo, or your, because most of these local communities needs to be better engaged. They are the ones that should be better engaged, because when they want to do any project like this, that they go to the local communities to teach the women on how to recycle, and after they're teaching them, then there's nothing more that they're doing about it. They don't go back to everything. So how can local communities in Nigeria be better engaged in climate action initiative, especially in rural areas?
Now, like I said, there must be, I give an example for a body, a climate change, a central climate coordination body. What I mentioned is not central. I just mentioned for Lagos. So which means that we must make it central. When it becomes central, it becomes universal for Nigeria, which means that the SDG department in Osun State, because I will tell you, the SDG department in Osun, I know of Osun State, I know of Oyo State, I know of Ogun State too. So we have to have this, we must advocate for that central climate change coordination body that will make all that, that will bring out the models, the pre-existing models we have on ground, especially for Lagos State. I can tell you Lagos State is the only state that still have the proper model for this impact. We can copy from these models and implement at different local states. That is where we can begin to talk about the change we are seeking. Like I said, again, public awareness is very, very important. How are these states, advocating for their SDGs, like Lagos? You can't see any post on Instagram for a month. You will not see Lagos SDG post. It's not possible. Many programs going up in Lagos State. We should, if we have opportunity to talk to these leaders in these states, they should come for public awareness, social media awareness, radio and TV station awareness in their states, that people will know that this is not just a Lagos problem, it is a global problem. It's an African problem, and coming down is a Nigerian problem. So that's how we can do that. And what I want to say again is climate budgeting. They must begin to allocate budget for climate change. And there's a climate law in Nigeria now during the regime of President Buhari. I hope you know that. Do you know that?
Yes, of course. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So there is a climate law. So if there is a climate law, which means that budget too can come. Now, we like to seek for international funding for what we are facing here personally. We are feeling the heat, and we are waiting for international funding to fund our climate action projects. No.
So talking about that budget, has it ever been implemented?
No, I'm not sure. And because there's still the last climate change forum they held in I think June, July. This part of what we were discussing, that climate finance is very, very important, and it must go from our budget here in Nigeria. If they are allocating budget for road construction, they must allocate budget for what? For climate change. I hope you saw what happened at Borno recently. The flooding. That's just an infrastructure. It's just something easy that they can manage if there was climate budget in regard and as related to flooding for these flood prone areas. We know there are flood prone areas because there are dams there, and we know that there are heavy rainfall recently in Nigeria. So if there are allocated budget, we will not be afraid when the disasters are coming. And that is why climate budget for climate resilient project that can help us reduce future disasters or havoc. Very, very important. I think I will stop.
Okay, thank
there.
you. Thank you. Please, I'll be back to you. If you have any question, if you have any questions or any question or comments that you would love to share, please kindly use the reaction button, or you can drop your comment or your question in the chat box. So I'll be going back to Jumoke. Jumoke.
Hi.
So Israel said a lot of things, most especially picking from the last line that you used about the flood-prone areas in Nigeria, and we saw the news, the outbreak of the flood in those areas that have never, especially the ones that have never experienced something like that in a very, very recent time, in a very long time. I mean, so what are the social and economic implications of climate inactions for vulnerable populations in Nigeria, such as those in flood-prone areas?
Okay, so one of it is just leads to more economic damage. The dam that they will have fixed, based on the news that I saw, based on the news article that I read, is something that they will have been averted if they fixed the dam before that disaster. Now, they didn't fix the dam, and then it led to flooding. And then it's going to cost twice or triple as much as more money that they would have used before. And I mean, there's just a lot of issues with that. It might be corruption. It might be that someone has embezzled the money or all those things. But the implication of this is it leads to more poverty and displacement. Personally, I've been affected by flooding before, and it wasn't. I thought maybe it would be like in movies where, okay, anybody that's affected by flooding, there will be like a shelter for them. Someone is going to come to your aid. I'm telling you, like literally, no one came for us. Like the thing shocked me because I watched a lot of American movie and I was like, no, help is going to come for us. I see it in movies. There will be helicopter. People are going to bring food. Okay, chill. They did come for us. I had to go to town to stay with friends. And the thing just like, it was really traumatic for me for almost like months. I was still thinking that the reality in Nigeria is just different. Everything is just upside down. During flooding, people are just looking at you like, oh, thank God it's not me. And other people are just like willing to help and all those kind of stuff. So when you're displaced, when people are displaced, there won't be food, there won't be shelter. It will lead to more poverty, and we still have poverty issues in the whole Nigeria. Imagine the one that could have been averted if there was they repaired the dam more, if they were climate finance, just like Mr. Istroy has said, if they had the money to just put those climate adaptation plans in place pre and post disasters. So I think these are just the main core of the socio-economical problems that I think are just at the forefront of it.
So we have a question. We have a question from Abiba Muhammad Sani. Abiba is asking, why do you think people don't care or won't accept climate information? They just don't care. They don't want to know it. Like, it's not my business.
Okay, so in climate communication, we have different type of audience in climate change. So it's something that people that go on the field are already used to. There are different approaches for different kind of climate audience. We have people that would deny, they are deniers, they won't accept what you're saying, and they will deny that it's existing. Even if they're seeing it, they will not believe it's existing. So it depends on the kind of person you are dealing with. It has nothing to do with what you're talking to the person about. So in your own expertise, you'll be able to group that, okay, this kind of people, they are climate deniers, they would not accept what you're saying. And there are literally some people that will accept what you're saying, they will change, they will start incorporating sustainability practice. So it's not about what you're saying, it's about them. That's why I said people are resistant to change. And in my own classes,
can you say maybe it could be because of the English that is being used, maybe all the language that is being used.
Exactly, you are right.
No, it's not English. Personally, I'm not very fluent with all those local dialects. So if I'm going on the field, I'll train people that can understand or can speak their language, and then we'll go together. So it's not even about language. I've met people on the field that are local, they're indigenous people, and they're very sound. The way they speak, they even have solutions that I've never thought about before. They have perspective. But then you meet other people that they're just like, in fact, there's some people that
Israel, you were going to say something, please. Can you come in?
Jumoke is actually right. There are people that when you meet them, you'll be amazed with the positive response you get, even indigenous people. And the other ones too, you'll be very disappointed. Recently we had a report from a research around the coastal region, and people said, what's there? During the days of Noah, there was flooding. Flooding is spiritual. How far now? Just imagine that report. These are live reports. They went to do coastal region research of how climate change has affected coastal areas and marine lives. And the people living in the community said that. But you get to other communities, they will be the ones to provide solutions for you. Local solutions for you. So but I think one thing again is that you said something about English. We should talk in these local languages. And what we need to do now is all our climate communicators, environmental communicators, they should begin to translate their information online. When you need to speak pidgin on your videos. When you speak Yoruba on your videos that go outside. People watch videos, especially on TikTok. I promote my business on TikTok, and I have a lot of followers there too. You see people, they watch TikTok videos these days than even Instagram videos at times. So we need to bring it to promote it in the local languages, different languages. Even though you cannot speak it, talk to someone that can speak it, train the person. Okay, this I want you to talk about, just talk about it. So they will hear. And I think we will make one impact in that area.
Okay, I'll be back to you. Jumoke, so talking about using local language, going on here, speaking pidgin and all that, what are the most effective ways to raise awareness about climate change in Nigeria and mobilize the public to support for actions, particularly in both urban and rural communities?
It's first, you have to be
practical, effective ways that you think that you've tried and it is effective.
Yeah, the one I've seen that is effective and I use a lot is being like an influencer. First, before you are able to raise awareness about climate change, you have to look like what you're trying to say. Some people, they're not even practicing the sustainability behavior themselves, and they go to the field. And then when they are speaking or explaining, they counter themselves. You're talking about plastic pollution, and you yourself, you're drinking from plastic, and then you throw it on the floor. Or you're saying that some people will come and pack it. I love to think from the angle of looking like what you're trying to say and embodying the character of a good climate actor. People are always going to follow you. As a climate actor, you're already a leader. And the best way to raise awareness is for people to be able to follow you and see you like an influencer. I know someone like Dr. Aproko on Instagram now. A lot of people, he says a lot, he gives a lot of earth nuggets. Right? It might not be practicing everything, but like people are following him. They're seeing him as a thought leader. Okay, well, yeah, let's be following you. Okay, whatever it says. I know a friend of mine that said anytime she wake up in the middle of the night and she wants to go and carry ice cream in the middle of the night, that she will not hear Dr. Proko's voice and in the back of her head, like, is this my spirit following her? Literally, it's so simple. We don't always have to carry clock and bell and be ringing bell about practice sustainability. It's about being a good leader. And this is something I've also heard from the Minister of Environment in Oyo State. He said he's an active person in the space, and he does not only talk about how people should raise awareness of sustainability. He tried to live that life, try to come down to that reality so that they can see him and he positively influence them. So it's not all about talking to them and talk. People are used to talking already. Nigerian government can talk. And if you go to the few people who tell you, this thing you are saying is what your government is saying and would not see shishi. So don't tell me about don't tell me about climate action.
I need you to hold your thoughts on that for a minute. Israel, let's move away from the Nigerian government for a minute and talk about the organizations, factories, business, private business owners and all that. What are they doing to ensure to curb this climate, to to work on this climate actions, most especially the ones in the rural environment. So let me use, for instance, I know we have some organizations like Nestle, organizations like, if you go to Shagamu area, there are so many companies there. These organizations, what are they doing? What is their input that they're doing to ensure that this thing is being curbed? Now, example is that I remember maybe Coca-Cola or a particular bottling company did a few recycling, what do you guys call it? This where people throw this big recycling iron made what's it called again?
Receptacles.
Yes, where people throw when you drink.
Yeah, receptacle. That's a receptacle.
When you drink anything, you can just throw it there. Yeah. Anybody can throw it there and all that. But you can count the numbers of this thing that was done. Even just Lagos, only Lagos, they only focused on some particular area, and it was even you can count the numbers of the things that they did. It's not like it went all around the country. And but they sell Coca. I don't want to mention any brand's name here. They sell these drinks almost in every part of the country. Is it a big deal? Like, is it something that is going to be too expensive for this organization to ensure this project is being done across every street, every community, every area in Nigeria?
Yeah, like I said, there are many things we don't know that organizations do. You don't know that they are even attacking them these days in the area of the attacks and a lot of things that they are paying. Because every organization, especially for beverage organizations, this packaging, they have their EPR, extended procedural responsibility, which they are paying heavily for that. And I can tell you, it's not only Lagos. I don't know. I'm trying to look for a document that shows a project that was implemented recently, Lagos State and some other parts of Nigeria. But we will not see that. And as I said, there must be a communication. We must close the loop on communications. People need to promote this project. And even to the northern parts and to some of the eastern parts, I saw that project during our class in LBS. The person was presenting to us, and they were project organizations, and we checked these organizations. They received this funding, not in Lagos State. They even only gave one recycler in Lagos State because Lagos State is saturated already. So they had to take this funding outside Lagos, and it was funded by Coca-Cola and some other companies to assist recyclers, aggregators, to collect this plastic waste from the environment for recycling. So there are a lot of things that they are doing. What we just need to do is to, ask for, for more transparency from these organizations and anywhere they fund. And this is what I'm still saying, that we cannot just go online and ask. But when we are a body, a strong body recognized by the government and registered, you will see anything you throw out there, they will answer you. We did this and this at so time, so year. And Ogun State collected this funding, some recyclers in Ogun State collected this funding. And you see other organizations, financial institutions, even other businesses, private business owners who want to invest, not even invest, they want to contribute to sustainability. Let me tell you, sustainability now is very, very important to all organizations. If you don't know, no organization now we operate without a sustainability report, especially these big organizations. It's not possible because the government will come for you, and even a lot of bodies will come for you. So that's it. I believe we just need to get this information spread out there.
Okay, so this question is from Neba Hubin to Mr. Israel. And she said, my question goes to Mr. Israel. I'm in a community where young people don't even know anything about the SDGs. And I feel like they need to know. How do I go about it? Who do I meet? And how do I start?
Good. I read an article from one of my professors in the University of Arizona State University. And he said, sustainability starts from your local town hall. It's a menu, which means that you start from your local environment. I like that person. You have to start from your local environment. First, what type of project would you like to engage in? You first check the demography. You check the problem. What is the problem? Is it a waste problem? Is it that people don't go to schools in your environment and you want to solve quality education problem, poverty problem, and you have to locate that problem. And that's when you now begin to know if it's a waste problem, you too must know how to solve waste problem. You have to do your research on yourself. Go to your local government chairman or commissioner, call a group of friends and family, and you start your work. It's just as simple as that. There's a World Cleanup Day coming up. Get the flyer, post online. You'll be cleaning up so area. Call your friends, create a group, call your friends, and you start. That's impact, local impact on the smallest level. From there, they will see you. You can walk into your secretariat, maybe local government secretariat there. Present your pitch your problem. If you don't have if you cannot write a proposal, ask for someone that can do that. But first, make sure that you do something that they must have seen. Like I said, start from this World Cleanup Day and start doing something with friends and family. You started your local impact.
Okay, thank you. Neba, if you have any other question, if you have any follow-up question regarding that, you can send a private message to anybody, one of the people in charge. I'm very sure Toby is on board, and also JB is also there that can answer your question. They will definitely, and you can as well reach out to any of our guest speakers on their LinkedIn page. They'll make that public before the end of the program. Mr. Israel, before I move to Jumoke, I need you to talk about the potential of renewable energy sources, such as solar and wind in Nigeria, and how we can accelerate their adoption nationwide. Hello? Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Okay, I think Mr. Israel is no longer, I'm not sure, maybe his network.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you now. We lost you for a bit.
Sorry, I think I have to abridge the network. So you said something about renewable energy. I add renewable energy.
Yes, like what are the potentials of renewable energy sources like solar and wind in Nigeria, and how can we accelerate the adoption nationwide?
From statistics, because recently, look, fortunately enough, I was reading a stat that renewable energy could create up to 330,000 jobs. Wow. Yes, I was just reading, but the transition also risks job losses in traditional fossil fuel industries. You know, like we were in a climate forum 2021, and they were talking to us about just transition into renewable energy, from fossil fuel into renewable energy, how it's going to affect even these refinery workers. They will need reskilling. They will need, most of them, you need to migrate them from their present location to another place, because maybe they are living around the oil wells areas and they will have to take them away from there, which means there must be funding for that. It takes a lot of processes to transition into, but actually green energy, which is solar energy, has the potential to achieve economic balance for us and even a sustainable future. So if I will talk further on that. Recently,
but wait. Solar energy, is it cheap? Is it cheap to maintain?
That's where I'm
going to acquire?
You read my mind. Solar energy is not cheap, but I tell you that their organizations now, they're trying to make it better for us. Like the Green, what's the name of this organization again? Green Club of Lagos. They did a program that you can pay instrumentally to get your solar panel. You understand? Which is, I saw the price, very, very low price, and it's like a plan, not like a mortgage plan.
I'm not going to mention any organization here, but I remember there's a particular organization that is actually training Nigeria presently, and they just came in, they swept everybody off their feet with their good price and all that. And after a year or something like that, their price went from, I mean, I got something of 400. Imagine buying something of 400,000 just last year. And having, no, what is for like 280,000 last year, and having to buy the same product this year, 2024, for like times 2 or times 3 of the price, buying it for 1.2 million naira. Something that you got for just 280,000 naira.
Let me tell you one problem. Well, let me tell you one problem.
The solar or the sun changes, or is there something that made this thing happen? What is the course?
Yes, they asked, I think in a conference this time, they asked one person doing solar panels, and he said they should talk to the government to reduce their tax. Yes, I tell you. So if we want to really go into that, we need to talk to the government to read. I think there's now reduction for tax for people in the waste management. In short, for a while, there are ways in the waste management that you will not even pay certain taxes until certain year. I think after 5 years of operation. Yes, it's a law in Nigeria now. It's a policy in Nigeria, rather, now, for waste people in recycling and this thing. So, but I'm not very sure about the solar energy tax reduction. So, which means that we need to consider tax reduction too. People cannot just call price if they are not giving you value and if they are not being taxed heavily. So that's the issue. And you can know the recent news recently, last year, this year, that many multinationals left Nigeria because of heavy tax.
So is there a way we can get the Nigerian government on board with this private?
This is what we are saying. There's a way. We pass the message out there. The people too, they should come together. The solar people in the solar energy sector, they should come together and propose a framework too for the government. They will listen to them. In short, because even electricity problem, do you know what we have electricity problem now in Nigeria? Have you heard about the Band A, Band B, Band C?
Yeah. Oh, everybody is on band list now.
We are on Band A in our own area now, and it's very heavy. You buy for Band A, 8,000 naira electricity is just 35 units for 8,000 naira.
So before I move to Jumoke before I move back to Jumoke, Mr. Israel, there's a quick question for you from Oluwa Tobiloba. I'm so sorry if I'm sure.
Yeah, Mr. Tobi. I know Mr. Tobi.
Oluwa Tobiloba. He said, Mr. Israel, let's talk about policy implementation and M&E, which I was actually going to go into. The challenge I'm having is that you can't make policies without the people. So if you say they don't know about policies, how will they know? There are over 20 policies on plastic alone in Nigeria. I think the approach should be bottom to top approach. Most of the policies are profit-oriented, leaving people and planet out of content. Did you get the question?
Yeah, I get what Mr. Tobi
So he further went on to say, please kindly emphasize on creating a strategy and strong task force on policies reformation, implementation, and M&E. If you have good idea on the policies,
I will advise. You know, when I started, I knew when I saw this webinar, I knew we are going to talk on policy, because governments, we have a notion about the government, and which we are very right. They call us together to, we want to develop this policy, environmental stakeholders. I was part of one in 2020, 2021, and before you know, we are out of the plan. But now, I believe, and I want to believe. I don't want to be negative, and I want every one of us to be positive about the change we want. The different departments we have presently in Lagos State, and I tell you, the present essay we have for minister, the essay we have for the minister of State for Environment is I think is the president of the Lagos Recyclers Association, Dr. Femi Idowu. We have our people up there now, and they call for this meeting. Join these meetings. Like I told you, join the Lagos State Circular Economy workforce. Join all these workforces that you know. That is when our voice will be heard. We cannot be part when we are far away from them. Government will not give us to develop the policies. Of course, they will take policy recommendation from us. Develop a framework until it gets to the implementation stage. And policy don't work without data. We are the people that will give them the data. The businesses, the advocacy, organizations, the environmentalists, the environmental communications. We are the people that will give them the data. I personally am going for a course in environmental policy and management. And this is what I am very, very particular about, because it's the people that will give them the data. But we have to be closer to them, join their community. When I say their community, they have offices now, and it's open to stakeholders. Let us go and sit with them. From there, we'll begin to divisiveness.
But you agree with me that everybody cannot join this. And this one is talking about
like I
that
said,
there
we have
over
leaders.
20 policies on plastic in Nigeria.
Like, I understand.
How do you expect a person like me to even remember or know it all?
Not everybody who can be a leader. We have our youth-led leaders. And see, I'm meeting you for the first time, and I know you'll be meeting certain people for the first time. Yeah. We will come together. We don't need more people. We just need, strategic people there that will be a voice, that will cause this effect we want. And that's when we can get something. Everybody cannot be there, of course. But we must start from somewhere. I tell you, I don't like to get closer to the government, but I can tell you that this is the only solution now, if we really want to do something.
Okay, our time is fast spent, and I want us to quickly wrap this up. So I'll be going back to Jumoke. I'll be back to you briefly to wrap up your talk. Jumoke, please, can you, in conclusion, how can climate action in Nigeria be linked to other SDGs such as poverty reduction and improved health to create a more integrated approach to sustainable development?
All right, thank you so much. First, we have to understand that climate action, the SDG 13, is very interconnected to other SDGs. And when you talk about addressing poverty, if we implement some climate adaptation or some climate mitigation initiatives, that directly can reduce poverty by creating more jobs. So just like Mr. Israel said, we have to build a coalition. We really have to come together as young people. So we have to also understand that there are some people that are working in the nexus of poverty and gender equality. So people are working in health and well-being. When they're implementing those projects, one of the outcomes they have to put in mind is that they are also indirectly or directly addressing the climate crisis. This flooding now that happened, in theory, one of the earth issues that flooding disasters used to cause is heightened cholera outbreak, and it makes them also vulnerable to disease. And for NGOs that are going to be working in that space, they can come together with the NGOs that are also in the climate space to design initiatives that can address both the health issue and also drive climate action. So I think it's about a very good understanding of climate, because when people scare away from this, people get scared when they hear about this climate thing. I don't know, they think it's just complicated. When you hear no poverty, it's just simple. It's something that you can understand when you say no poverty, but like climate action, there's just a whole lot that comes with that word. We talk about the spheres of mitigation and adaptation in different spheres. We're also talking about policy, but for people that are in the climate space, they need to do better. And for young people, they need to come together. They need to understand that if they are implementing adaptation strategies or mitigation strategies, there are always going to be interconnections among them. In terms of renewable energy now, it's going to produce more jobs, of course, but then it's still going to make those people that are in the oil and gas lose their job. So when you're designing initiative, you can target those ones that are probably or obscure those people that are going to lose their jobs, so that as we are solving one problem, we're also not creating another problem in that regard.
Okay, thank you so much. On a lighter mode, I remember a time some years ago when I mentioned climate change to an elderly person, and the person said, climate change means God is fighting us. When God fought the people of Israel and brought down rain, brought down fire. That's just on a light mode. Thank you so much, Jumoke. We really appreciate it. Mr. Israel, back to you. Same question for you as well. We've seen some youth that claims that, okay, my focus is on SDG 1 and 2. My focus is on SDG 2, 3, and 4. I only focus on SDG 5, 6, 7, and all that. How can these people synergize together, and how to understand that? How can they be linked? How can everyone link whatever focus that they are working on to climate action in Nigeria?
Actually, Jumoke answered you appropriately.
I want to hear your point as well.
It all interconnects with each other. My organization, we operate like 6 to 8 SDGs. How? Is from your problem. What type of problem are you solving? And from there, you can begin to see the SDGs in the problem statement. And that is how, when we see the problem statement, someone that is working with gender equality, okay, you want to empower a girl child. What are you empowering them to do? So definitely you have solved one SDG problem. In the process, you have empowered them. You have solved poverty issue. And another issue, when you check very well, you will solve another SDG. So if you are solving waste problem, no poverty, clean, SDGs, life underwater, so many SDGs, even the partnership with the goals, no recycler can stand alone. If you are solving a problem, you have to have partnership with organizations and so many people to get it done. So before you know, from the problem statement, you interconnect to these SDGs. And that's how it can be done.
Thank you so much. I'm sure we all learned a great deal during this conversation. It's been a wonderful conversation conversing with you. Thank you so much, Jumoke. Thank you, Mr. Israel, for sharing your insights on this climate actions. And I can say a comment from Neba Ruben saying, thank you, Israel. Your contribution has been impactful, joining from Cameroon, and I'm surely going to start in my community. Thank you so much for that. This is all we will be taking today. Of course, we will be having this conversation next month again, and trust me, next month is going to be way more interesting than this. Get set, get prepared, and join us next time. Same link. I'm not sure it's not going to be same link, but it's going to be same venue, which is going to be on Zoom. And you can also go back to watch this program on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you. Do have a wonderful and splendid day. Bye. Yeah, Jumoke, thank you for joining.
Bye.
Nice to catch you up here again. Bye.